Like when you go to a play or you sit down to watch a movie, there's this comforting guarantee.
Right, yeah, the script is locked.
Exactly. The hero hits their marks, the villain says their lines, and the climax happens exactly when the director planned it. The structure is fixed. But then you look at the world of professional wrestling, and that locked script is it's just gone.
Yeah, completely out the window.
Right. So, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today is Monday, July 6th, 2026, and we are looking at what happens when a live-action comic book spontaneously combusts, which is exactly what happened tonight on WWE Raw in Chicago.
It really is like the absolute definition of narrative whiplash. We're unpacking a massive stack of sources today to figure out how this happened, everything from live event reports and insider rumors to comprehensive historical archives and even a recent GQ interview.
Oh, that GQ interview is so telling.
It really is. And the goal here is to give you, the listener, the ultimate insider's guide to this seismic shift. We want to explore not just the mechanics of tonight's chaos, but the profound historical weight of the ultimate prize in professional wrestling and how a 60-year legacy just got turned completely upside down in a matter of minutes.
Okay, let's unpack this because the setup going into tonight's July 6th broadcast seemed incredibly straightforward. Sami Zayn was scheduled to defend his newly won undisputed WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes.
Right.
And we really have to emphasize the emotional investment here. Zayn literally just won this championship a week ago at Night of Champions. He pinned Cody after countering his finishing move, and it was this massive feel-good culmination of a career spent scratching and clawing as the ultimate underdog.
Yeah, the crowd went absolutely crazy for it.
Totally. So tonight was supposed to be the epic, honorable rematch.
Well, the operative word there being supposed to be, right? Because the tension was brewing before the cameras even started rolling.
The backstage stuff.
Exactly, mostly due to a jurisdiction war backstage between the company's two general managers. So you have Nick Aldis, who runs the SmackDown brand, and he had just returned from a suspension. He was furious at Adam Pearce, the Raw general manager.
Right, because Pearce had essentially hijacked the main event of SmackDown the week prior. He booked Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso in a #1 contenders match, which Cody won.
Yeah.
And that meant 2 SmackDown roster members were now main eventing the flagship Raw brand for the Undisputed Championship. Aldis confronted Pearce, told him he was doing a terrible job, and accused him of putting his ego above the company.
And that administrative failure backstage acted as the perfect incubator for the physical chaos that followed. The executives were just too busy bickering to secure the building.
Right, they took their eyes off the ball.
Exactly. So as soon as Raw goes on the air, before we can even get a referee in the ring, 38-year-old Gunther completely shatters the script.
The brutality of it was shocking. Sami Zayn drives into the arena, steps out of his car, and he's greeted by Cody Rhodes. It's this tense but respectful face-off. And out of nowhere, Gunther just swoops in and annihilates Cody.
Just completely blindsided him.
We were talking about Gunther powerbombing the challenger straight through a wooden table and then violently throwing Sami Zayn into the windshield of the very car he just arrived in. Cody is left bleeding from the forehead, totally taken out of the main event before he can even lace up his boots.
It was a surgical strike by a top antagonist. By taking out the challenger, Gunther effectively destroyed a multi-million-dollar advertised main event before the first bell even rang.
It reminds me of a rogue chess piece knocking the opponent's king off the board before the timer even starts. Gunther didn't just break the rules, he threw the board across the room.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
But incredibly, that wasn't even the biggest shock of the night. So Cody Rhodes is loaded into an ambulance. Sami Zayn is battered, but he's the champion. And he insists on standing in the middle of the ring in Chicago, demanding an opponent.
And that is the exact moment the entire landscape of the industry shifted. The static hit the arena speakers, the opening riff of Cult of Personality played, and CM Punk walked out.
I couldn't believe it.
This was his first appearance in a WWE ring since WrestleMania 42, where he lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Roman Reigns. Punk had been completely off the radar for months.
Well, he'd been posting those cryptic workout photos, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those intimidating photos on social media. He was clearly waiting in the weeds for the perfect moment to strike.
And he found that moment in his hometown of Chicago.
Yeah.
He stepped in to replace Cody Rhodes. And despite Sami Zayn fighting with everything he had, Zayn survived Punk's signature knee to the face finisher, the GTF.
Barely survived it, but yeah.
Right. And Zayn almost won the match with his own corner boot finisher, the Helluva Kick. But Punk was just too relentless. He hit his own version of the haluva kick, followed it up with a final GTS, and pinned Sami Zayn to become the new undisputed WWE Champion.
Think about the sheer tragedy of Sami Zayn in this scenario. He finally scales the mountain, wins the big one after years of doubt, only to have his dream crushed in exactly 1 week.
That's brutal.
From a psychological standpoint, it is a heartbreaking 1-week title reign. But from a narrative perspective, it is a masterclass in utilizing chaos to retain your audience's attention.
Especially considering this completely blew up the company's own rumored roadmap. Like, according to reports from Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer, the heavily rumored internal plan for SummerSlam next month in Minneapolis was supposed to be Cody Rhodes defending the championship against CM Punk.
Right, and by having Punk hijack the title tonight, the writers derailed their own leaked script. They took the expected destination and completely destroyed the road getting there, which just proves that sometimes the most compelling storyteller isn't a meticulously planned long-term arc, it's just pure, unadulterated chaos.
I find that brilliant. But wait, here's where it gets really interesting. Isn't there a bigger character shift happening here? Like, the guy who walked out in Chicago tonight is not the young, rebellious voice of the voiceless who dropped his infamous script-breaking pipe bomb promo all those years ago.
Yeah.
He's a 47-year-old veteran.
Yeah, we have to examine Punk's current mindset, which he detailed extensively in that July 2026 interview with GQ Sports we mentioned earlier.
Right.
He is fully aware of his age. He sees the gray in his beard.
Right.
But rather than running from it, he's weaponizing it. He actually compares his current run to the legendary Terry Funk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Funk famously wrestled into his later years without ever compromising his aura. Punk noted that there was never a young Terry Funk or an old Terry Funk. There was just Terry Funk.
He also leaned heavily into comic book mythology in that interview, right?
Oh.
He explicitly compared his current persona to Marvel's Wolverine, specifically the Old Man Logan storyline. In that comic, Wolverine is grizzled, battle-hardened, and living in a world that has largely moved past him. But his survival instincts make him incredibly dangerous. Punk literally told GQ that grizzled old CM Punk is fucking awesome.
He says it allows him to tell stories in a much more sophisticated way. He claims he can do things at 47 that he couldn't even mentally process at 20.
But wait, is this Old Man Logan persona a genuine evolution of his character, or is it a brilliant psychological defense mechanism to mask the fact that he just can't do the physical things he did at 20? Athletes hyping up their twilight years is a tale as old as time, you know?
What's fascinating here is that in the context of professional wrestling, physical decline, when openly acknowledged and incorporated into a character, actually heightens the drama.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in traditional sports, losing a step means you get benched. In this industry, losing a step forces you to become a smarter, more ruthless predator.
Meaning he has to rely on efficiency rather than stamina.
Exactly. And consider how this applies to anyone's career progression, really. Raw, youthful energy is fantastic for making a splash, but wisdom, pacing, and knowing exactly when to strike is often far more lethal.
Which is exactly what he did tonight.
Look at the mechanics of it. He didn't pick a fair fight with a fresh Cody Rhodes. He didn't challenge a 100% healthy Sami Zayn. He stayed hidden backstage.
Yeah, he just waited.
He let Gunther do the dirty work of taking out Cody and softening up Sami, and only then did he walk down the ramp to capitalize. That isn't the reckless rebellion of a 20-year-old. That is the calculated, sophisticated storytelling of a veteran who knows how to preserve his body while maximizing his impact.
So he didn't have to out-wrestle the entire locker room. He just had to outsmart them on one specific night.
Precisely.
But zooming out for a second, I am fascinated by the prize this grizzled veteran just claimed. I mean, the undisputed WWE Championship is significantly older than CM Punk himself.
Yeah.
We are talking about a championship with a 60-year history, which, frankly, makes my head spin trying to follow.
It really is the absolute bedrock of the industry. To understand the target Punk just painted on his own back, you have to trace this title's lineage all the way back to April 1963.
Okay, take us back.
According to the historical archives, this all started when the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the WWF, broke away from the National Wrestling Alliance over a dispute about who should hold the world title.
Wait, so they essentially just invent their own championship out of thin air?
They did, and to give this newly minted championship a legitimate sporting veneer, the promoters claimed that Buddy Rogers won a grueling tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to become the inaugural champion.
A tournament that never actually happened.
Exactly. A complete work of fiction used to legitimize a very real physical championship. But once that foundation was laid, the title became the ultimate measuring stick for greatness.
The stats are just
The
wild.
statistics attached to this lineage are staggering. You have Bruno Sammartino, who holds the untouchable record for the longest single reign at 2,803 days.
Over 7 continuous years as champion.
Yeah.
I mean, try pitching a 7-year title reign to a modern television audience today. They would completely lose their patience.
Oh, absolutely, they'd riot. And then, on the flip side of the spectrum, you have Andre the Giant. He famously held the title for a grand total of 1 minute and 48 seconds because he immediately tried to illegally sell the belt to the villainous million-dollar man, Ted DiBiase.
I love that piece of history. And then you also have John Cena, who holds a modern record with 14 distinct reigns as WWE Champion, proving his incredible longevity at the top of the card.
He was the face of the company for a reason.
But I have to admit, keeping track of this lineage gets incredibly confusing when you factor in the different eras of the company. Following the brand splits and the various title unifications over the decades, it's like trying to follow a convoluted royal family tree. Or, I don't know, trying to explain Marvel's multiverse to someone who has never read a comic book.
It definitely gets tangled.
Suddenly you have the WCW title being defended on WWE television,
Yeah.
the World Heavyweight title, the Universal title. How does a single championship survive all of that fragmentation?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, unifications are the key to its survival. Whenever the lore gets too messy, or whenever there are too many people claiming to be the definitive world champion across different television networks, the company uses a massive unification match.
Ah, okay.
Like in 2001, after WWE purchased their rival company WCW, Chris Jericho unified the WCW and WWF titles to create one undisputed champion.
So it's basically a narrative reset button.
Precisely, it cleans house. In 2013, Randy Orton unified the WWE and World Heavyweight titles for the exact same reason. And most recently, in 2022, Roman Reigns unified the WWE and Universal titles.
Right, which led to the Universal title going away.
Yeah, that unification eventually led to the Universal lineage being officially retired in April 2024, leaving us with the sole, undisputed WWE Championship we have today. These matches aren't just administrative changes. They strip away the confusion of having multiple champions and reestablish a single, undeniable apex predator of the entire industry.
Oh.
When CM Punk holds that specific belt today, he inherits the legacy of Sammartino, Jericho, Orton, and Reigns all at once.
And it's not just the names in a record book that give it that prestige. The actual physical object, the belt itself, has evolved into a global pop culture icon. The visual evolution of this championship is a fascinating study in branding.
It really is. I mean, in the 1980s, you had the big green belt, which quite literally looked like a regional boxing trophy with heavy green leather.
Right.
By 1988, Hulk Hogan introduced the Winged Eagle design, which many purists still consider the most elegant, prestigious-looking design in history.
The Winged Eagle is legendary. It looked like something a heavyweight prizefighter would wear.
Definitely.
Then you transition into the late 90s with the Big Eagle during the Attitude Era, which felt larger and much more aggressive, fitting the cultural tone of the time. But then we hit the era of intense customization, which completely changes how the title operates as a prop.
Oh, for sure. Stone Cold Steve Austin gets his own custom smoking skull belt, complete with snakeskin backing. And then John Cena completely alters the brand identity of the title from 2005 to 2013 with his diamond-encrusted spinner belt.
A championship belt that literally spun in the center like a hip-hop car rim,
Yeah.
which I know alienated a lot of the older wrestling purists who felt it made a joke out of the history, but man, it sold an unbelievable amount of merchandise to kids.
It perfectly reflected the mainstream cultural crossover WWE was aiming for in the mid-2000s. They wanted the title to feel like a piece of high-end, ostentatious jewelry rather than just a sporting trophy.
And then Daniel Bryan goes in the complete opposite direction a few years ago. He wins the championship, throws the traditional leather strap in a garbage can on live television, and introduces his Planets Championship.
That was wild.
He makes a belt entirely out of organic hemp and naturally fallen oak wood to fit his militant environmentalist persona. It was a brilliant subversion of the bling era.
It really was. And today, the belt Punk won is the modern network logo undisputed design. It features a massive WWE logo encrusted with black diamonds, sitting on a solid gold plate.
That's huge.
It was introduced specifically for Roman Reigns in 2023. And this specific physical design has transcended the wrestling bubble in a way none of the historical designs ever did.
It is genuinely everywhere. WWE started this brilliant marketing tradition in 2014. After the San Francisco Giants won the World Series, WWE sent them a custom championship belt to celebrate.
Yeah, that started a huge trend.
And since then, the tradition has absolutely exploded. They send these huge custom belts to the winners of the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the Premier League, the Stanley Cup, the Australian Open. They even sent one to a heroic London police officer, Charlie Ginnigal, honoring his bravery during the 2017 London Bridge attack.
Which brings up a fascinating psychological question about symbols.
Right. I mean, I have to ask, why does a scripted entertainment prop hold so much actual weight in the real world? Like, why do elite athletes like LeBron James or the guys winning the Premier League actively want to parade around a locker room wearing a professional wrestling belt when they just won a legitimate, unscripted sporting championship?
It comes down to the deep-seated psychology of what a championship belt represents on a primal level. Think about traditional sports trophies. You have a silver cup, a wooden plaque, or, a small championship ring.
Okay.
They are symbols of victory, but they are largely passive objects. A cup sits on a mantle or inside a glass display case.
You don't interact with a plaque once you win it.
Exactly. But a massive, heavy leather belt dripping in gold and diamonds is something you actively wear. It is visceral. It taps into this ancient archetype of a gladiator. Unlike a cup you drink from, strapping a massive title around your waist is an aggressive assertion of dominance.
Oh, makes sense.
It transcends the scripted nature of professional wrestling because the feeling it evokes is universally understood.
So when an NBA champion puts a WWE title over his shoulder, he's not saying he's a great wrestler.
He's tapping into the symbol of being the undisputed best in the world. It represents an archetype of absolute dominance that everyone, across all cultures, instantly recognizes without needing a word of explanation. It just commands immediate visual respect.
So what does this all mean? We started this deep dive talking about a completely fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro back in 1963, a fabrication used by promoters to legitimize a new piece of gold.
Right.
We traced that gold through decades of winged eagles, spinning diamonds, and organic hemp, watching it evolve from a regional prop into a global symbol of dominance worn by Super Bowl champions and real-world heroes.
It's an incredible journey.
And it all leads us straight into the very real, very bloody chaos of tonight's Monday Night Raw in Chicago. We watched the 38-year-old Gunther shatter the locked script by putting Cody Rhodes through a table, creating a power vacuum. That vacuum allowed a 47-year-old CM Punk, fully embracing his inner grizzled old man Logan, to step out of the shadows, use his veteran instincts, and reclaim the most historic throne in the industry.
It is the perfect synthesis of history, psychology, and chaos. But this raises an important question, and it's one I want to leave you, the listener, to mull over on your own as you process tonight's events.
Okay.
If CM Punk is truly the old man Logan of WWE right now, relying on his calculated wisdom and pacing to hold on to the most historic prize in the entire industry, who is the young, hungry mutant waiting in the wings, destined to eventually figure out his game, forcibly retire him, and take that 60-year legacy away.
Man, that is a chilling thought. Just like a comic book, there's always someone younger, faster, and more ruthless waiting for their turn on the page.
Always.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the scripts unfolding around you. Keep an eye on the chaos, and we will catch you next time.